As the conflict intensifies, the army has stepped up airstrikes in the half of the country that the RSF controls, while the paramilitary group has staged raids on villages and intense artillery strikes. Rights activists said at least 127 people, mostly civilians, were killed in Sudan on Monday and Tuesday by barrel bombs and shelling from the warring sides. Dozens were killed in Khartoum state, many of them ordinary citizens who want no part to play in the conflict. For the local governor, he says the sides need to take a step back and understand who they are actually hurting.
This targeting, instead of being directed at our heroes on the front lines, is aimed at these innocent civilians in their everyday lives, whether on public transportation or in markets. This is an attack on the people, while wars should be fought on battlefields and with regular forces.
Meanwhile, an official said that another 7 people were killed in shelling at the Zamzam camp for displaced people in North Darfur. Pro-democracy and human rights groups said more than 100 people were killed in North Darfur when 8 barrel bombs hit a market on Monday. The army has denied responsibility for the attack on the market, but insisted it had the right to target any location used by the RSF for military purposes. It has frequently targeted towns in North Darfur as it fights the RSF for control of the state capital, El Fasher, its last foothold in the region. The RSF has not responded to a request for comment. Joy Kirukijuma, CGTN.
We are now joined by Naba Muhyiddin, who is in Port Sudan. Hi there, Naba. Naba, what is the latest situation regarding the fighting and the humanitarian situation in Sudan?
Hi, Hannah. The situation in Sudan is really worrying, and the number of people who are killed by the intensified fighting is rising every day. Every day we are hearing news and confirming news about new attacks and new killing of civilians, whether in Al Jazeera, in Khartoum, in Al Fasher, and this is really worrying because that means that the two warring sides are just escalating without adhering to the mounting calls of ceasing the hostilities and returning to negotiation tables. The situation is really bad, and Durman witnessed a bloody night where 20 people were killed by an, it's not right now, it's not confirmed it's an airstrike or it's a bomb, but 20 people were killed in a bus, and hundreds of people, tens of people are injured. In the same time in Al Fasher, tens of people were killed in attack in targeted Al Fasher market and also Niala market, and Niala airport. So the situation in Sudan is really worrying. And this morning, Shendi city in River Nile also witnessed drone attacks, and the RSF are accused of carrying out these attacks. So the situation in Sudan is really worrying and escalating every day, Hannah.
So now, from what we're hearing from you and also various reports, it doesn't seem as though there is an end in sight anywhere, close. When we talk about negotiations that have failed so far and what we're seeing is an escalation, from what you're hearing now, what are the government and RSF forces saying about this latest killing of mostly civilians in Khartoum and Al Fasher?
Actually, the two warring sides are just trading accusations over the killing of civilians and targeting civilians in their areas of control. The RSF is obviously targeting gatherings of people, targeting so-called safe regions like River Nile. We saw the drone attacks this morning, and we saw many drone attacks on River Nile and Mero, Adbara over the past few weeks. We are also reporting on violations against unarmed civilians in Al Jazeera. So right now, the two warring sides are trading accusations. The RSF is accused by eyewitnesses, by civilians, of targeting civilians and unarmed civilians, not targeting military targets. So the situation is really bad, and the Sudanese people are paying the high cost of the continuation of the escalation and the continuation of this civil war. The situation is really bad, and it's almost 2 years now since the conflict erupted. We are entering a new year, 2025, with huge fears that the war will not stop here, and it will not be just areas of control by RSF or the military, but it will extend and to safe regions, and of course it will have huge impacts on civilians, including women, children, and millions of Sudanese people who are very eager and very hopeful for a peaceful resolution very soon.